the Arkansas Healthy Century Trust Fund was put into place for health purposes. Was there any thought to allowing some of this money to be used for its original intent?
Well, again, it can be used for the original intent under this legislation. All we have added is some additional possible, because in order for it to be a true long-term reserve account, you cannot limit it to one specific category. But I would argue that as we spent the last 2 years looking at the fastest growing part of our budget in Arkansas is healthcare and Medicaid, growing at twice the rate of education or other areas of the budget. So the fact is we have a revenue downturn. The most likely place that will be felt first is in fulfilling our needs to pay our match rate and to deliver healthcare services, which we have no choice but to do. So in a budget the size of ours, the fact that if we have an economic downturn and we had to tap some of these reserve funds, it would most likely, I would think, there's a high likelihood a lot of it could be used for healthcare.
Let me just say what my concern is as we look at this. First of all is the fact that we keep having these things. It's not about you, Senator, because you might have the greatest respect for you and called you to try to find out some information. When we're having these special sessions, it's helpful if all of us know all of the information about what we're about to do. And we have treasured this trust fund for a long period of time. And so I walk with trepidation around the idea of just completely eliminating something that we put in place by statute. Really, the people voted to do this as an initiated act. And now we're talking about just completely depleting the fund and putting it somewhere where those of us who have by seniority the ability to be both on council and budget can make decisions, but it precludes the majority of the members of the legislature from making those decisions as well. How do I assuage that concern when we're looking at this? I know about all the bond stuff, but we have survived all this time without taking this money. And I am concerned that we're completely depleting a fund that was put into place by an act of the people.
It's a fair question. Let me just start by saying that I agree 100% that this legislation was late coming out and there should be more time to inform the members. And that's, I don't know where the blame for that necessarily lays, but that certainly makes this more of a challenge than that, I guess. But let me also make the point that we are not depleting the fund or expending the fund. We are moving the fund, and I would say putting it in a place where it is more protected in many ways than it is today. Now there has some more flexibility, but there's no requirement right now for us to have an economic downturn to access those funds. Over the last 20 years, we've accessed the interest off of those funds multiple times and spent it. We'll realize now that not even the interest can be accessed when it's in long-term reserve without an economic downturn and without a 2/3 vote. And in order to address your concern about the ALC or the joint budget, the bar is pretty high. In fact, it's very high now to access those funds. I will be one of the ones who, if we come down here and try to access those funds for a frivolous or unwise effort, will be fighting. That is when the fight needs to occur, because then we will be spending those funds. But in my view, we're moving to a place where they are more tightly controlled. The standard for spending them, I don't think we'll be spending the interest anymore, which is what we do. Every time it gets to $110, $120 million, we rip off the interest. We'll either short Medicaid or we do something else with it in our budget. Well, now in order to do that, you have to only do that in an economic downturn after 2/3 of council and budget approved it. And again, as I said to Senator King, if we're going to leave it where it still requires a 2/3 vote of the legislature, then we are in the same boat that we are in right now, which is we will not get credit for long-term reserve because it's not a true long-term reserve account. So I understand the concerns, and to me, I think many of us are trying to have those concerns about spending the dollars when we're not doing that today. All we're doing is putting them in a place where I think they're better protected.
Thank you.